And I will just present my screen.
Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am. My topic for today is coastal regulation zones and classification of zones. You must be wondering, why did I show you this video? This event occurred last year when the Supreme Court of India ordered to demolish four illegal waterfront structures in Maradu municipality of Kochi, Kerala. Reason being, they were they were constructed in violation of the CRJ notification, that is coastal zone regulations. Now let's understand what exactly is a coastal zone. The coastal zone is a transition area between marine and territorial zones. It includes various ecosystems like shore ecosystems, wetland ecosystems, mangrove ecosystems, etc. And here is an astonishing fact. India has a coastline of more than 7,500 kilometers. So one may wonder, why do we need coastal zone regulations? First of all, we dump more than 4,800 billion tons of domestic waste and more than 65 million tons of solid waste annually into the sea, which further affects livelihood of more than 200 million people living along the coastline, and which also further affects mangroves, coral reefs, and fish breeding grounds. So now coming to the definition of CRZ. Coastal Regulation Zone Notification derives its power from the parent act, that is Environmental Protection Act of 1986. CRZ consists of coastal land up to 500 meters from the high tide land and a stage of 100 meters along the banks of creeks, estuaries, backwaters and rivers where tidal fluctuations occur. Now here is a timeline of various CRZ notifications. It first came in 1991, and in the upcoming 2 decades, various changes were being made. In 2011, under the committee set up by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, government further liberalized the development plan. Further in 2018, in the Salish Naik committee, government permitted the construction of toilets along the beaches. Here is a graphic which clearly demonstrates the various zones of CRZ notifications. Here is low tide line, which simply means the line which the sea touches when the tide is low, and the high tide line, which simply means the line the sea touches when the tide is high. In CRZ1, CRZ2, CRZ3, and CRZ4, in CRZ1 areas are simply ecologically sensitive areas like mangroves, and CRZ2 areas are already developed rural areas or the urban areas. CRZ3 areas are not so much developed areas, and CRZ4 areas are simply aquatic lands. Now, coming to the various developments, kinds of developments that can be made under the four zones. In CRZ1, no new construction shall be permitted because they are ecologically sensitive areas, except projects relating to the Department of Atomic Energy. In CRZ2, buildings are permissible because the development has already been done and the population is very high, like for example Mumbai city. In CRZ3, between 0 to 200 meters from the HTL line, that is high tide line, there is no scope of development. Only certain activities like agriculture, forestry, etc. can be permitted. Finally, in CRZ4, fishing is allowed, but only traditional fishing is allowed, as commercial fishing cannot be done as it harms the marine life. Uh, Finally, on a conclusive note, I would like to point out that balance must be struck, and the intentions of government has been shown in 2018 CIJ notification, as it allowed for densely populated rural areas to be further subcategorized to further liberalize the development plans. In tourism sector also, storage rooms as well as toilets on the beaches are being promoted. So I would like to end my presentation with this line: balance between development and destruction must be struck. Thank you.
Yes. What do you what all More, what is that activity can be permitted in CRZ2 area? Do you have any suggestions for that?
Yes, ma'am. As CRZ2 areas are already developed, be it rural or urban, and the population is quite high. So, and the construction is already up to the seashore. So, I think, ma'am, apart from the industrial activities, any kind of activities can be permitted because people are already living there and tourism has already developed and roads are already constructed, and for the just like in Mumbai city there is a sea link bridge. So I think more bridges to ease the traffic, more organic production can be encouraged, like desalination of water etc can be encouraged.
Okay.